Oh, okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. There have been some interesting submissions today, and some of them have addressed the issues that we have. But we were hoping that the first invitation from the Electoral Commission to this forum would be some policy options as to the way forward and how much it's going to cost and so on and so forth. But I believe from what I've observed and heard so far, it can be a second event that we can have following the verbal presentations. We will proceed to make the following points, and I'll just have 5 of them. The first is to do with the current register. We accept that the current register compiled in 2012 and all other registers in the past have had problems. Before the 2012 elections, Ghana had issues to do with double registration with the one compiled prior to 2008 and therefore 2012. This nation attempted to address that challenge with the introduction of the biometric register, which was to make it impossible for any voter to register more than once. In spite of this biometric system, the current register has the following challenges which affects its credibility. The first one is that everybody agrees that there are minors in the register, and I was a parliamentary candidate in 2012. Every polling station register you pick, there are minors there, and this is not debatable at all. And the challenge of the EC has been what effective legal means or processes they have to be able to remove these obviously looking young people on the register. The second one is that there's a situation where the same biometric information will belong to 2 individuals, sometimes of the opposite sex. The question we wish to pose is that if the biometric register was to capture unique fingerprint information, how is it possible that the same fingerprint would belong to 2 or more individuals? And this is Dr. Frejan who mentioned it when we met as political parties. I've forgotten the hotel now. 37, the Golden Tulip. He mentioned this, and this is to him. He was wowed how that should be possible, and that how the EC had this information in its database. There are foreigners on the register, and I think that before we even proceed to investigate and verify what the MPP has presented or anybody has said, it will be safe to state that the lack of a credible identification system as an unimpeachable source data from which a register is compiled makes it very easy for non-Ghanaians to be on the register. How can we as a country compile a voters register of Ghanaians of 18 years and above when we do not have an effective means of verifying who is a Ghanaian and what age they carry? So we have been compiling all the voters registers from a non-existing database. How is it ever possible to compile a register from that which does not establish voters' nationality and his or her age? Mr. Seydun Ketia, or the law has referred to CI 72 section 13 or 31. I don't know the exact quotation, but it's there 6 forms of identification. There is driver's license, and there is voters or previous voters ID card, and until recently the NHIS card and so on. None of these confirms citizenship of anybody. None of these confirms the ages of anybody. So if we want to register Ghanaians of 18 years and above, then we should find a way to identify who is a Ghanaian. And I try to say that I'm Kofi Asamoah. The fact that my name is Kofi Asamoah and it's a Ghanaian name doesn't make me a Ghanaian. And one issue also is what the IT expert, I've forgotten his name right now, referred to grandparents being confirmed that they are citizens of this country. The fact that I hold my daughter's hand to go to the registration center doesn't mean that she's 18 years. So we have put in place ways by which we compile the register that do not establish your nationality and your age. And that is the crux of this matter before, now, and in the future. Now, we want to address the mandate of the EC in respect of this. We have read the constitutional provisions and the EC, the laws that created the Electoral Commission, and the various regulations, and we wish to submit that the EC has no legal capacity to decide who is a Ghanaian and who is not, or determine what age the person carries. It is also sound to say that the EC lacks the practical know-how to create the source information required to ensure that only Ghanaians of 18 years of age and above are on the voters register for the purposes of public election in this country. And if you refer to the laws in the Constitution, Article 42, what the EC is supposed to do is there. One of them does not include telling us who is a Ghanaian and who is not. The problem we have now has been occasioned because the EC has insisted in the past on being an agent of compilation and also revision of the voters register, as well as the creator of the source information. And that's how come the EC will make proposals to Parliament in the CI that we should use driver's licenses as a source of identification. And with all due respect, a driver's license doesn't confer nationality. The laws that create the EC never granted her the power and authority to create the source information. It only gave her the power to compile from the source information. We want to put the National Identification Authority in the center of this debate. And we think that the confusion around these two problems of age of people on the register and nationality will be addressed. To end this confusion of the EC, creating the source information and then compiling the register therefrom, among others, this country, our parliament, the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, took a bold decision in 2006 and established the National Identification Authority to create the source information. It is the only body that has the authority to create such a database for national usage. The EC is duty-bound by law to make reference to this database and compile a voters register out of same. For the avoidance of doubt, we state the functions of the National Identification Authority as you find in Section 2 of the National Identification Authority Act. This section is titled Object and Functions of the Authority. The object of the authority is to create, maintain, provide, and promote the use of national identity cards in order to advance economic, political, and social activities in the country. And political is underlined. To achieve its objective, the authority shall do the following: collect personal data on citizens resident in the Republic and abroad, and on foreign nationals permanently resident in the country. Ensure the accuracy, integrity, confidentiality, and security of the data collected by the authority. Issue national identity cards to citizens and foreign nationals permanently resident in the country. Make data in its custody available to persons or institutions authorized by law to access the data. And this solves all the problem we have now. Our proposal for the way forward is that the NIA, as we speak, has biometric information on 21 million Ghanaians. They went around in this country. I wrote my name in 2008 to register Ghanaians from age 6. So we have a credible information that we can verify whatever we want to verify with. So that if somebody registers a child at age 6 and is supposed to be credible information, that person will know when that person gets to 18. So if we use that, we don't have a problem. If I want to put my daughter's name on the register, and therefore I go to NIA and say that she's 18 years now, of course, there are consequences for such actions for such parents. One of them is that your daughter will retire early. One of them is that she may never even have the opportunity to go into the armed forces. So you have added 10 more years or 5 more years to your daughter's age or your son's age because you wanted to cheat and have an opportunity to vote for your party when the person is not due. It is the only source information that will give a credible voters register. If we do not utilize the NIA database, we are afraid the current problem of identifying citizenship and age will never be resolved, and therefore this country will never have, as in the past and present, a truly credible voters register. With the use of the NIA card, or the National Identity Card, there shall be no minors and non-Ghanaians and no non-Ghanaians on the register. There shall be a new beginning for all Ghanaians, and we shall have faith in our voters register forever. And I made a note here when Mr. Sirin Ketia was speaking that we should allow the current register to stay, because those minors who registered in 2012 are of age. Nobody knows the ages that those minors had. The only group of minors who qualify now will be those who were 14 years at the time. So what do you do about those who were 10, and those who were 8, and those who were 12? They are still minors, and they are not eligible to be on the register, and therefore to vote. Our view is that this periodic compilation of new voters register, almost after every 4 years or 8 years, is not useful. We therefore submit that using the NIA card to compile our voters register is the permanent solution to this problem. There is issue of the capacity. Let me continue. I'll come back to that point. Now, we don't want to limit the discussion, or we don't want the eminent persons and the Electoral Commission to limit this discussion, whether occasioned by the NPP or whatever the precursor is, to voters register, because we believe that it is only one of many problems that we have in our electoral processes. Our final point, therefore, is that we should not have stated that we strongly propose a review of our election management processes to adopt a fully electronic voting system that will reduce the workload on the EC and make it more efficient, transparent, and credible. An e-voting system will guarantee easy verification of voters, easy voting without spoiled ballots. And we in the PPP are worried in presentations that we have made to the EC that in the last election, 250,000 votes or more were not counted. They were described as spoiled ballot, and that could have changed the outcome of the election. And in any case, why, as all of us are concerned about helping people to get into the register, we should also find a way to help those 250,000 registered Ghanaians help them by getting their votes to be counted. So a system that makes sure that electoral spoiled ballots or rejected ballot is zero should also be at the forefront of this discussion. It will reduce the number of electoral officers hired on polling day, and we have just put some numbers together. The Electoral Commission has determined that, of course, in consultation with the political parties or in agreement, that 30,000 polling stations will be used for the 2016 election. If you take 6 electoral officers at every polling station, immediately you have 180,000 people who are going to help manage the election process. And the question we ask ourselves is, how are we going to get money to pay all these people? How are we going to train them? What kind of logistics are we going to procure? And even with population increase, the ECs should consider that printing of papers for elections will increase. If 2012 voters register is anything to go by, 40 million. And sometimes they print more than 10% in addition. So when we are 15 million, 15 million. When we are 20 million on the register, that future incremental onto the voters register should let the EC pause and reflect what is the best way to have elections conducted instead of printing papers all the time. Ballot boxes will have to be procured, and the logistical nightmare, sometimes the army is in trouble to get people ballot or electoral materials to some places. Moreover, the political parties will be spared the burden of providing about 60,000 able-bodied men and women as polling agents to protect our interests at the polling stations. And I must add that if you pay every polling agent 10 Ghana cedi on election day alone, that translates to 600,000 Ghana cedis. And there are records to show that other parties pay 100 cedis to their polling agent. And well, you can dispute it, but something that happens, we should have some intelligence to find out if it's true or not. And that means that we can spend, by one political party, if you pay 100 cedis, 6 million on that day alone. Why are we making elections so expensive and relying on political party agents for the integrity of the ballot? We think that is not the best way to go. It is the responsibility of the EC to guarantee the integrity of the final results without passing that responsibility to the political party agent. And today it has been demonstrated here that everybody says you are an agent. You are an agent. The fact the agent clause is optional. So the fact that I don't send an agent there doesn't mean that the integrity of the results should not be established. We should be able to establish the integrity of the results independent of political party agents. And that is the core of the Electoral Commission. The presence of party agents, and I've stated that, I'll move on quickly. More importantly, the number of polling agents is growing, or polling stations. With population growth, and we submit a new voting system must be adopted to reduce the reliance on political party agents for safeguarding the integrity of the polls. One thing I didn't say was the names we used to call these groups of people political parties put together. And I'm sure all of us know the names. We in the PPP expect the 2016 elections to be truly transparent, free and fair. We therefore recommend that the EC and other stakeholders look beyond the voters register to fashion out a comprehensive program of reforms that will guarantee that our presidents are elected through a credible electoral process and not out of a bastardized process which undermines the legitimacy of elected officials and threatens the peace and security that is maintained by those who keep quiet when they are cheated out of this flawed process. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
You did submit, towards the tail end of your submission, you did state that it's the duty of the Electoral Commission to protect the integrity of the results of our elections. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Good. At the same time, you did present from the beginning, that the Electoral Commission hasn't got the mandate to determine who is a Ghanaian or who is not a Ghanaian. And two, you did mention also that the Electoral Commission hasn't got the mandate to determine who is a minor or who is an adult. I believe I'm right there too.
Yes, they don't, yes.
Good. Now, would you want me to believe that you have absolved the Electoral Commission of the outcome of the problems we create ourselves, which they haven't got the authority to check? But at the tail end of it, expecting them to protect the integrity of what the IC specialists mentioned as garbage in, garbage out. We put in our garbage and we have our garbage out, and you think the Electoral Commission is the Zoom lion that should clear our garbage? I don't know whether you feel it is right. In that case, therefore, if the Electoral Commission hasn't got this capacity, who has? Is it the political parties who have, but they have collectively failed the people of this country? And year in, year out, you subject us to untold hardships, sitting on time bomb and people not finding oxygen to breathe because of this or that. How do you react to this kind of presentation?
Thank you very much. Yes, the statement we made is still valid, that the EC doesn't have legal or constitutional mandate to determine the ages and nationalities of possible voters. Where the EC got it wrong was to propose in the CI, and by extension Parliament endorsing it, that how you get citizens on the register is the use of driver's license. How you get citizens on the register is the use of previous voters' ID card. How you get voters on the register or citizens of 18 years is the use of two people coming to say that you are a Ghanaian and you live here. I mean, how can that be the case that this will ensure that me, when I take any of those identification and processes, I'm a citizen of Ghana and therefore my age is valid? And that is why we also proceeded to submit that in order to solve this problem that Mr. Sedun Ketia again referred to us, and all of us in Ghana, we throw our hands in the air that there's no solution. Meanwhile, there is one, that we don't have a database of birth and death registry. But there's NIA sitting here in Ghana registering foreigners and not Ghanaians. So when we said that the EC doesn't have this, all we expect from the EC is that they should move away from proposing ID cards that, in their opinion, establishes citizenship, and let all of us use the NIA that is clearly stated in the law that their job is to have card for the purposes of political, economic, and social activities. If we don't utilize the NIA, why did we create it? And they have 21 million, that's what they've captured. And if today, from 2010 population census, we are 25, without the projections from the MPP, we are left with less than 10 million people to go in there. What is stopping us from doing that now? And it can be done. And from the 74 million that Mr. McMahon referred to, if we want to get everybody a card, let's go and get it from tomorrow. We should start collecting the cards from NIA from tomorrow. And that is why we say it is beyond this debate. And we were not happy when key government officials, including the president, say that this is an EC matter. It is not an EC matter. It is a national interest. It's in the state matter. And if we have NIA sitting there, that must be supported to provide the cards we need so that EC is shielded from these bullets coming from all angles. And we don't utilize it. That should be a concern for the whole country. It's a national. Every year we come and talk, and I'm sure these cameras, one of them are foreign media, and Ghana doesn't have an identification system. And not that we have not passed the law. I wrote my name in 2008. Today, everybody's name should be on the register or the NIA database. If you don't do that, and we come around and complain about how you identify a citizen and complain about their ages on the register, then we have shot ourselves in the foot. And I think that the debate should put NIA forward and get 3 months. Everybody should go and collect the card. All the money that Mr. Cabinet Japan has calculated, $7 times 15 million, you do the mathematics all the same and give it to NIA if there's no money. And let them give everybody a card. And from there, you extrapolate. All you need to do is to you say the other one is who has. NIA, I think I've done that. And the EC, whether we are absolving the EC of wrongdoing, I'm not saying they put the wrong people there. I'm saying that what they relied on to put people on the register is what has created problem. And you see, in 2012, the problem we solved was double registration. So we have solved that. How do you solve identification of citizenship or citizens? That is a secondary one. And going forward, how do we, even when you have identified citizens to put on the register, how do you make sure that they vote and their vote count, and then when they vote and their vote count, the results are also not manipulated and therefore give us a wrong precedent? These are comprehensive, long processes that should be the center of the debate instead of singling out the voters register.
I'm going to ask a question because you have put